Hello, everyone, and welcome to another holiday episode of Never Seen It. My name is Betsy. I am your host today, and with me, as always, is my own personal Scrooge. It's my Trent.
Bah humbug!
Hi, Trent. Welcome to another show with me. Today, we are continuing our December holiday movie series because it is Christmas, and that is what we do. We are watching from 1988. Just celebrated its 35th anniversary, we are watching Scrooged.
Yeah.
A movie that I have seen, but Trent has never watched.
And I did not know up until 2 hours ago that you have actually seen this already.
Now, in my defense, I've only seen it the one time.
Okay.
So it's another one of those movies.
When did you watch it?
I suspect that I watched this either when we had started dating but weren't hanging out every night, or
Okay.
right before.
Betsy, we were hanging out every night from the first date.
Okay, so maybe it was before I met you.
Not to give a background in our dating history.
I'm pretty sure I watched this when I was in my apartment.
Yeah.
Literally, it has been long enough that I don't remember this movie.
Okay, fair enough.
But with that, you have not seen this.
No, never.
So what do you know about Scrooge?
So this is a Bill Murray movie. This is only the second Bill Murray movie that we've actually covered. At least one that he's the star of anyway. And it's kind of a retelling of A Christmas Carol. And I think it's more adult. It's a PG-13 movie, so they don't go really, really far. But it certainly is not going to be like a Muppet Christmas Carol.
No, this is a much more for 1988 modern version.
Yeah.
And because Bill Murray, especially in those days, was very subversive and cynical in his comedy styling, this movie is going to be more in that vein.
Yeah, and as far as what happens here, I really don't know anything other than the basic tenets of what happens in A Christmas Carol. He is going to be visited by 3 ghosts, and he's basically going to be told, hey, you're a bad guy. This is the result of what you have done, what you are doing, and what you will do in the future.
Or what will happen if you don't change your naughty ways.
Yes.
Do you know anyone else who is in the movie?
No.
I know there are people you will recognize.
I'm sure.
One specific person I do remember is in this movie. We will talk about after the break, but I know it's somebody you will recognize, and you're not going to be happy they show up.
Oh, no.
But with that in mind, I think we're just going to keep this intro short. We're going to go watch Scrooged, and we will be right back. We're back. Trent, that was Scrooged. Are you full of Christmas cheer, or are you a humbug?
Neither. My understanding about Scrooged is that it is quite divisive. It's either a love it or you hate it kind of a movie, and I think I love it. I was laughing a whole lot. And I think seeing a lot of Bill Murray movies, he is going to be Bill Murray in pretty much everything that he does. He's not one of these comedians or comedic actors that is going to really challenge himself and be an actor. No, that's not what Bill Murray ever does.
It is sometimes what he does, but it took another 20 years after this movie for him to ever really do it.
Yeah.
So even in Lost in Translation, where he is doing drama, the directors know enough that they should just kind of let him do his own thing.
He's about at a 5% Bill Murray, but it's still behind his eyes.
He is still improvising. He is still running amok. He's just in Scrooge, a much younger man who is all of the energy of a 30-something, 40-something. I don't know how old he was in this.
I don't know.
Bill Murray improvising and going to a 12.
Yeah, and I think in the context of A Christmas Story, they can take that concept and, like you said in the intro, modernize it. This is a very modern take, even though it's 1988. I mean, I can think of a businessman who's an asshole, That's a very believable thing. And I can also see somebody in this position, making people work on Christmas, not giving them a Christmas bonus or taking away a promised bonus. I would know something about that.
That is the thing about A Christmas Carol. That story is universal when you take somebody like a Bill Murray character in this movie, or just anybody who's just kind of a curmudgeonly asshole. That can be applied to a lot of situations.
Yeah.
People forget how to be nice human beings, and they just suck. So for my experience on this movie, like I said in the intro, I have seen this movie one time. And I really did not remember this movie very much at all. There was one thing I remembered, which we will get to. But when I watched it, I remember not really liking it. Now, this time, I definitely laughed. I don't know that I love this movie, though, because it just sort of starts, and then there's a drag, and then it really amps up, and then it just sort of neatly resolves very quickly. I feel like his turn is almost kind of unearned because it's Bill Murray, you're letting him improvise things, and he is just going all over the range of emotions.
Yeah.
While he's going through this experience in real time, it's not like the traditional Christmas Carol where it's all overnight and he's by himself and he's just kind of internalizing things.
He doesn't get to go back to reality and get an update on what's happening.
He keeps, in this movie, snapping in and out of the chaos and reality, and then the chaos and reality. And it's very jarring. It's not bad. In some moments, it's very, very funny.
And it is kind of supposed to be jarring for this guy.
But that's what I'm saying. He is so, lost along the way that all of a sudden it comes together and he's like, I want to live. And it's the way you expect this movie to end. I'm like, but why? Because I didn't feel like he earned it. I didn't feel like he was changing as the movie went along.
Oh, I don't know, Betsy. If I found myself in a coffin that was being set on fire, I think maybe I would rethink some things.
But it takes until that moment. There really aren't that many glimmers of it up until that point.
Yes, there are, because
I didn't get them very well.
He's at least seeing the things that he did wrong. Like when he goes back to him on the set of that puppy show, he can see, yeah, I fucked up with Karen Allen. She's walking away from me, and that's my future. I could have ended up with her, but I decided I'm going to stick with my career, stick with this stupid-ass thing that I'm doing just to impress my boss, who's an asshole. He says it.
Yes, but after that happens, he goes back to reality, and he goes to her, and he still fucks it up.
Yeah, he only incrementally goes forward, but at the same time, he's only thinking about himself.
That's what I mean. It's just, he doesn't make big enough strides for me, and I feel like the turn at the end is just too sudden. That's just the way I've experienced it.
Yeah, so you wanted him to start, after he goes back to the past, maybe start to be a little bit better, and then the present gal comes in, he's a little bit better, and by the future, he's all the way better? Is that what you wanted?
Every time he advances in this movie, he regresses, and then we have to go back to advancing again.
Okay.
Instead of always moving forward, he goes forward and back and forward and back.
I think it's because he's fighting it. He doesn't want to change.
Well, for me, it doesn't work. That's just my opinion. That's how I'm viewing this. So I'm in the camp of, I don't love this movie. And I thought maybe this time I would appreciate it more than the last time.
Sure.
I think it was funnier, but it's also maybe that thing that I said at the intro. He does subversive, cynical comedy in the 80s.
Yep.
And I don't tend to like those kinds of things. I want to feel happy. I want to feel nice things. It's not that I can't appreciate them once in a while. Like a really sharp satire, I'm here for it.
Sure.
But I don't know. It just feels mean and angry in a way that is just meant to be mean and angry sometimes.
But it's the over-the-topness of it. Of course, this guy isn't that fucking terrible. But I'll say this about them trying to take a different take on A Christmas Story. I really appreciate the fact that they do have it separated out into sections where he does go back into the real world and he's kind of questioning what he just saw. He's questioning, did I actually see that ghost? Did I actually go back to my childhood? Am I just having a psychotic episode?
I'm having a breakdown.
And by the time he goes into that restaurant scene with his boss and the new the hotshot guy, he's like hallucinating things. Like he sees an eyeball in his glass. He sees a guy on fire.
Yeah.
So even you as the audience member don't really know what's going on. And then he finally goes outside and he gets into the cab.
Maybe another factor of this is it was made in the 80s and the vibe is very 80s. It's also kind of in that same spirit of like Christmas Vacation, another movie that everybody really, really loves and I just don't really have any affinity for.
I don't really like Christmas Vacation.
I will tell you guys right now, I think I've only ever watched it beginning to end one time.
I think I've seen it twice.
And it's just another one of those movies, kind of the same thing. Chevy Chase is kind of a cynical asshole, and that was the sort of stuff he was making in the 80s.
Well, Chevy Chase is a real asshole, but...
But it's that same cloth. They're cut from the same cloth.
Yeah.
And it's just not really my thing. I don't know. There are moments of this movie that are really fucking hysterical. They really, truly are. But then there are other moments where I'm just like, I'm not really enjoying this. And I can't exactly explain why. It's just, I thought it would be different the second time, and I feel the same that I did the first time.
And me seeing this for the first time here, you know, everything is fresh. Everything is new. You've seen these jokes before. Whether or not you remember them or not, you're not going to be surprised like I am. Now, some of the jokes that are kind of passed off jokes, I laughed really hard at. A lot of the stuff that isn't even having to do with Bill Murray is really, really funny. All of the ghosts, I think, are the best part of this movie. So I can see where you're coming from as far as you kind of wanted this to be more of a traditional Christmas story, except for, hey, it's Bill Murray, and maybe he's going to have a little bit more fun with it. You maybe wanted it a little bit more grounded?
I don't know. I don't know what my exact problem is. It just doesn't speak to me on a deep level. Like, maybe it's
and
the
it doesn't
fact...
speak to me on a deep level either.
Maybe it's the fact that it's like that weird... It is and it is not a Christmas Carol. His name is not Ebenezer Scrooge. They have a Christmas Carol happening, but he is Frank Cross, which has nothing to do with anything. And it's this meta sort of thing where he's like, oh, I'm putting on a Christmas Carol and now I'm going through it. And it's kind of funny. Maybe this also just boils down to the fact that they basically threw the script out. The director and Bill Murray didn't get along. Bill Murray doesn't really like this movie. There's a lot of things happening here that I don't know if I'm just taking that in or I can just read that when I'm watching this.
I think the difference between you and me right now is I think it is more than the sum of its parts and you think it's less.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. But I actually do think that them kind of taking the original Christmas story and then putting another layer on top of it to make it modern, to make it in 1988... Yeah, you're not going to name your guy Ebenezer. Yeah, you're not going to have a Bob Cratchit, but you have the stand-ins. You have the Tiny Tim. You have the Bob Cratchit. You have the guy having the revelations of, hey, actually Christmas is good and the spirit of Christmas is something that is very important and I need to mend my ways with the people that I have wronged, including Bobcat Goldthwait. Fuck me, Betsy. Why the hell
Trent, the one thing I did remember about this movie very distinctly was that it featured prominently Bobcat Goldthwait, who, in our household...
Yeah, we have a rule in this house.
Let's just say it's a dirty word to mention Bobcat Goldthwait.
It's not, Betsy, it's not the word. Mm-hmm. Be honest with the people.
Sometimes I do a voice of Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yeah.
And it drives you insane.
It is not allowed in this house.
And I'm not going to do it for this recording.
No, because I'm going to just shut it off.
It'll traumatize you and all of the listeners. But yes, when I want to really harass Trent in a deep and disturbing way, I just start talking like Bobcat Goldthwait. And when he showed up in this movie the first time I watched it, I went, oh shit, it's this guy. And it took me a minute because he's a little bit more restrained.
I didn't even recognize recognize him when he was in the boardroom.
But as the movie progresses and he gets more frantic, it comes out.
It all the way comes out. And I've never seen him with short hair.
I've never seen him in the 80s, like young at all.
No, I've only ever known him from the 90s. And even then, I was trying to remember the things that I knew him from, and I cannot remember.
The only thing I know he is in is his voice. He is a voice in the 1990s Hercules, the Disney movie.
And I've never even seen that.
Yeah.
He was famous for TV, in my opinion. That's where I think I saw him.
I have no idea. Why do we know who this person is at all?
I think he had his own show in the 90s. I don't know what it was.
That would track. A lot of people had shows in the 90s.
They gave people a lot of shows in the 90s.
So speaking of people in the 90s, just to get away from this,
we're moving on from that.
So there are a lot of people in this movie, both main characters and just a lot of blink and you miss it. There's that guy, there's that guy, there's that guy. The movie starts with these, I guess you call them made-for-TV movies, because Frank works at IBC, which is this network that he is the president of, and it is their Christmas programming. So it's The Day the Reindeer Died, starring Lee Majors, and he is rescuing Santa at the North Pole. There's a lot of guns, but they just go into it. This is how it starts.
Yeah. Like, we get this overhead shot of this miniature of the North Pole. The camera's flying through the air into Santa's, I guess, workshop. And there's like artillery hitting nearby.
Someone's attacking the North Pole.
Someone is attacking the North Pole, and it's fucking Violent Night all over again.
So that's how the movie begins. And then there's another show that is Robert Goulet's Cajun Christmas.
Where he's like on an alligator or on a raft near alligators.
Singing Christmas songs through a swamp.
Actual Robert Goulet.
And then they cut to the prime time event. They are doing a live stream worldwide of Scrooge. Now, they don't even call it a Christmas Carol. They specifically call it Scrooge, which is not the source material, so it's a strange choice.
But Betsy, you did forget one. There was another promo there for another show.
Oh, there's one more before Scrooge?
Uh-huh. It's Father Loves Beaver.
Oh, yeah.
Forget about that
one. Well, because I don't know anybody in that one.
No.
I didn't know those actors.
But I had to say it. Good God.
Yes. It's Leave It to Beaver, but they're older, I guess.
Right. Well, it's Father Knows Best plus Leave It to Beaver.
Fair enough. But in Scrooge, this primetime event, they have Ebenezer Scrooge played by Buddy Hackett, Jacob Marley is played by Jamie Farr, and Tiny Tim is played by Mary Lou Retton. This is such a strange 80s lineup.
Very much of the 80s. Now, I know all of those names. I know that Mary Lou Retton was a gymnast, but those other names I've heard of. I don't know anything what they've done.
Jamie Farr was on MASH. He was Klinger.
Okay.
The guy who was always pretending to be insane, so they'd send him home.
Yep.
And then Buddy Hackett is one of those like song and dance guys from the 60s. Okay. He was in The Music Man. He was in The Love Bug. He was in a lot of Disney movies. But the thing you know him from is he is in The Little Mermaid. He is the fucking seagull in that movie.
Okay.
So those would be, you know his voice, but here he is actually doing a British voice and he's like the most Brooklyn, New York guy. And so this cast is insane. And that's the whole point, is the lineup that he has created is just bonkers. It is the most ridiculous, far-fetched stuff they'd put on TV.
Yeah, we got like dancing girls, we got
gymnasts.
Yeah, like giant sets, and it's gonna be live. And there's, when he goes on set for the first time, there's an argument about, oh, this woman's tits are out.
Nipples. Her nipples are out.
You can't show nipples on TV.
You can barely see them nipples.
Yeah, which was apparently an improv line.
90% of this movie was improvised, though, so that doesn't surprise me. So that's like the first 3 minutes of this movie. All of those people show up. And from there, it just keeps going. Like, Alfred Woodard plays his assistant. I'm watching as he's walking down the street in New York, And Paul Schaefer is there, apparently with Miles Davis, because why not? They're just street musicians. And then a couple other guys who were name-checked, but I don't know who those people are. I don't follow that kind of music, apparently.
Yeah.
And then it's just sort of this who's who as you're going through the movie. There's not one, not two, but three brothers of Bill Murray in this movie.
Yep.
You've got Wendy Malick, who is a 90s TV star. She shows up in this movie. That guy that we know from Mad Men and Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Oh, yeah.
He's in this movie. The woman who plays Mimi on The Drew Carey Show has a very small part. I noticed a woman who was on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend in here somewhere. A lot of people who got famous like 10 plus years after this movie, every background character was somebody I recognized.
Because you're you, Betsy.
Because I'm me, and I watch a lot of things and I remember faces. I'm just terrible with names on occasion. But that was the whole experience watching this movie. And then you've got your main people, who are Bill Murray, and of course, Karen Allen.
Yeah, which this is kind of the Karen Allen year for our podcast.
We're bringing it back around.
Third appearance, if not more.
The fourth appearance, because she's in 3 of the Indiana Jones movies.
Is she in 3 of them?
She was in the very first one. She was in Crystal Skull.
She was
in Dial of
Crystal
Destiny.
Skull, yeah.
Yes, this is the 4th time Karen Allen has shown up on this podcast.
All right, I really liked her in this. Of course, she's kind of doing the I'm pining for my ex-boyfriend thing, and it is a little ridiculous that she's kind of holding a candle for this guy who she's known for like 15 years, and she's never married, she's never like moved on from him. And she's just kind of living her life waiting for that call to come in the middle of the night?
Apparently, because she definitely just shows up at the drop of a hat after not hearing from him for...
Right.
I haven't called you in 15 years.
I love that he looked at his watch. It's such a great joke.
I do like her in this movie. I think the two of them have like a cute chemistry. But you're right. She is just sort of like waiting by the phone for him to call out of the blue one day.
Yeah.
And he's not very nice to her when they break up. Like, she says, well, you're supposed to come to Christmas Eve dinner. They're our best friends.
Right.
And he's more concerned about his career, which, when you get an invitation to dinner with the president of the company, maybe we could find a middle ground. And it seems very black and white, like he's gonna go and fuck my friends, and she's gonna leave because he doesn't understand her.
Yeah, and I can understand her being that way because of how he reacted. Like, he could have apologized. He could say, this is the thing that I've really been waiting for. Apologize to them. Please make another date. I will make it up to you, but this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. But of course, I'm sure there's a lot of other incidents where he's completely blown people off before and just worked. Like, they have the scene of him, like, working during the Christmas party. And that's a character trait that I think really fits with an Ebenezer Scrooge type, because he's portrayed as a penny pincher and he doesn't want to shut down his business on Christmas Day just because it's Christmas.
Keep going. going.
Yeah, any day that you're not working is a day that you're not making money.
And he has that moment in this movie, too, with his secretary, where he's just like, find out who that guy is. Where are you going? What do you mean you have a doctor's appointment? If I'm working late, you have to work late.
Right.
And if you don't stay, I can't work late. Because he's also a helpless man-child.
Yeah, and I don't think it's really about money for him. I think he is completely career-focused. He wants to climb the ladder. And the introduction of this country club guy, the son of the president or the son of like the head of the company or something, he comes in, clearly is going to replace him, and he's threatened by that.
He's not his son, he's just some California schmuck.
No, he says he's son of somebody.
Oh, he's not the son of the president. I thought you were implying that he was the president's or the CEO's guy. No. Okay, never mind. But yeah, the president, however, is played by Robert Mitchum, who is a name I haven't brought up yet, who is another one of those guys who's like, here's a golden age of Hollywood star who has Oscar nominations.
Yeah.
And in this
fucking bullshit movie.
And in this, he is the head of the company who wants to make programming for cats and dogs. And when we see him in his home, he has, I don't know how many cats because you cannot count them all.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So it's just another very strange, like, what is that man doing here?
Well,
is this sort of a thing like we're maybe not that many years removed from Network and we're like doing a play on that movie at some moments of this?
No.
Or is it just like the career television people?
I think it is Bill Murray saying television is stupid.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, and look at the idiots who are in charge of television. They think, oh yeah, I'm looking at the demographics and there are this many million cats and this many million dogs. Those are eyeballs that we need to capture.
So start making that programming. Here's a file.
Start like throwing in little extras in TV shows. Oh, it's a little string, or here's a mouse, or,
Dormice in Scrooge. That's why he wanted those mice in there, because his cats would be watching.
Right.
Well, I want to talk about his overall experience going through the motions of being visited by the three ghosts. And obviously the best way to do this is to start with, technically, it's always weird they say, oh, you'll be visited by three ghosts, but they're visited by four. They never really address the fact that the first one's also a ghost.
With how they're portraying it, he's more of a zombie, not a ghost.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. He is... in this modern version, instead of being a spooky ghost, he is literally a rotting corpse that comes into his office, dressed in golf clothing and has a drink, and there's like mice crawling out of his brain and golf balls.
In his skull.
They go for the gross out factor. This is a very 1980s feature of this movie where they're just like, hey, let's make his arm fall off and his skin flap open. Yeah, and it's just gross and weird.
Yeah, and him like dangling Bill Murray out of the window, but he goes through the window. That was a nice effect for 1988. And him falling and then he lands on his office floor. That was a good effect. I like that.
But this actor I didn't know. I didn't recognize this guy, so I'm going to have to check on him. And this scene, it's like, okay, it's funny. I don't know. I didn't think it was like that great a start. And the way they introduce it, it says, okay, you're going to be visited by three ghosts. The first one at noon tomorrow.
And,
we're going to put it in your schedule.
He does the business thing about, this it's not good for me this week. How about we schedule it for a week past Tuesday?
No, tomorrow.
And also, it's his old boss.
That tracks with the original story because it's his partner. So
just
change it to his boss instead, his mentor, basically. Because with his partner, he was the young guy, his partner was the old guy, and he took over the business when his partner died.
Yeah, and I think his partner, wasn't he also a crotchety old man who worked himself to death?
Yes, that is why he comes and gives him a warning, like, you're gonna be like me, you have to change your ways. And it just felt, I don't know, it didn't feel as genuine in this. And it's that thing of being 1980s and being cynical. And I just, that's me. I have a lot of little problems with the flow of this movie. And maybe it is just the fact that most of this is made up as they go along. But as we go along, we get to the second ghost, who is a New York cabbie, played by David Johansen. Now, you said you kind of recognized him, but you didn't know who that was.
No, I think it's just his face and his voice that was familiar.
My guess is it's because you've seen his face from this movie your entire life. Because I have been intimately familiar with this creepy cabbie as long as I've known this movie existed. I just didn't know the context. I didn't know who he is. But he was apparently the lead singer of a rock band called the New York Dolls. So a very well-known rock band in like the 70s and the 80s.
Okay.
Why he is in this movie? I don't know. I've never seen him in anything else. But he is just disgusting. And he is chewing his cigar. It is squished down.
It looks like a beef stick, Betsy.
And he is driving him around to his home in 1955, to his office in 1968.
Which, as a little extra thing, I really like that the fare meter is the years in this time machine.
Well, yeah, when they're counting the fare, they're just gonna go backwards.
Right, I like that little touch. But yeah, he goes back to his childhood home, and it's not a very happy home. His dad comes home with 5 pounds of veal. That's your Christmas present.
His dad, who is played by his brother, Brian Doyle Murray. And it gives you a little bit of his childhood was lousy. His dad wasn't a very nice person. They didn't really do Christmas. Yeah. So yes, we're getting a lot of information about why he might not be enthusiastic, but it's never really covered when he's an adult. he doesn't say he's not enthusiastic about Christmas per se. He's just kind of too busy for it.
He becomes too busy for it because when they go to a little bit later, when he's an adult after he meets Karen Allen, the year after that, he's excited for Christmas. He buys gifts for her. He buys her a whole Ginsu knife set.
He's never gotten to open Christmas presents, frankly.
Right.
He's like, can we open them today? And she's the reason for that. And he fucks that up. But he never explicitly says that he hates it. And again, this is a change and I should just go with it. But, you know, Scrooge is very like, bah humbug, Christmas is stupid, and everyone is wasting their time and their money.
And
in
again,
this one, I
don't mind.
Okay, all right, fine. Well, what did you think of this ghost, just as a character?
I thought it was great. I love that guy.
The one I love in particular is the second ghost, played by Carol Kane. If I can give you anything in this movie that I actually really liked, but even sometimes this went too far, it is her as the ghost of Christmas Present.
Yeah, she goes a little bit too far, but I just love the fact that she just keeps on slapping the shit out of Bill Murray.
To get him to travel through time and space the way she wants, she punches him in the face and she kicks him in the balls and she rips his lip open and she drags him by the ear and she slaps him and she chucks a toaster up his chin.
Yeah, and of course the best line in the movie is the bitch hit me with a toaster.
So she is a lot, but this is kind of quintessential Carol Kane. When I think of her, I've only seen her in a few things, but she's always like smiling like a lunatic.
Yeah,
every time I see
maniacal
her.
Look in her eye.
But it's done with a smile.
Yeah, it's not malicious.
No, she is always smiling and she's always a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
And in this movie, she's just a lot crazy to get her point across. But I don't even think she's insane. She's just, by comparison, kind of insane.
And I think with her, it's her trying to portray all of this stuff that's happening is happy. You need to be happy. Be with your family. You'll be happy. Look how happy this family is over here, even though they don't have much.
It's joy and fun, and she says, come join the fun, and is blowing raspberries on his stomach, trying to get him to participate.
Yeah, and he would have had fun doing the whatever game they were playing about naming things from television.
They're doing trivia.
Yeah.
And they're all terrible at it. And he's just like, what is wrong with you? You all grew up in the age of television.
It's the minnow.
And then, of course, the third ghost is the standard ghost, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
It's just the tall, cloaked figure. But the change they make here is that his face is replaced with a television screen.
Of course, and that's a great touch.
And this is the part of the movie where they actually were playing a little bit more with the special effects. So like when he first shows up, Bill Murray has a wall of TVs that is airing their version of Scrooge. And the ghost of Christmas Future shows up in the corner and grows very big across all the screens. Mm-hmm. And then his hand comes out and is about to reach him when Bobcat Goldthwait comes and tries to shoot him with a gun.
Right. And again, that is kind of it's them playing around with the format because, yeah, he's going to grab him and he's going to take him to see his chilling future or whatever you want to call it. But because there are consequences, he is still in the real world here. He's not pulled into Weirdland yet. The consequences of his actions are still following him, and maybe that it reinforces it a little bit more to make him really realize that, you know, there's some real big consequences waiting for you if you do not change now.
In the here and now,
right.
When you snap back to reality, there is a man with a gun waiting outside the elevator door.
Right.
But he does get yoinked into the elevator and into the future, and he sees his own death. And this is such a very brief scene. Like, they kind of show Karen Allen as this like rich widow or something, and she's just like, oh, those poor people.
Yeah,
I finally got one thing right in my life, and it was to shun all the poor people.
Yeah, she's turned into some like posh bitch that just again shuns everybody, doesn't care about the poor anymore, because the last thing that her ex-boyfriend told her was, kick everybody else to the curb, only think about yourself.
Basically, fuck them.
Fuck them.
And the only other thing we really see in the future is his sister-in-law standing there crying. And then he says, oh, it's my brother. He died. Oh, no.
Right.
But of course, it's not his brother. His brother's right there. It's him. And he gets inside the coffin as they're pushing it into the fire.
Yeah.
It cuts from him trying to keep them from pushing it into the incinerator to he is inside and his feet are literally on fire.
Yeah.
And it is clear that Bill Murray agreed to be set on fire for this movie because there's no real way to fake the shot they were showing us.
And like I said before, that is, I mean, if you have a phobia about, being locked underground in a coffin alive, that's going to fuck you up.
Just in the box is enough.
Yeah.
I don't want the lid on. I get a little claustrophobic in that specific scenario when it's that contained.
Wow, okay.
That freaks me out. I've told you this. I got an MRI once, and the first time it was fine. The second time I had to do it, I touched the wall. I don't know. I suddenly had a boundary. I knew exactly how big the space was, and I had a meltdown. I started having a panic attack, and I was hitting the buzzer, get me out, get me out, get me out. So yeah, him being in a coffin, with his feet on fire especially, that is a thing that would fuck you up. But it happens so quick once we get to that point of the movie. So again, it's just a jarring turn that when he wakes up, he's like, I'm alive. Elliot, you sweet, crazy man.
Yeah, he's screaming in the coffin, I don't want to be on fire. I want to live. I want to live. I want to live. And then he snaps out of it, and suddenly he realizes everything. Now, I do agree with you in that, yes, he does make a giant leap in this moment. And there's zero delay in him doing this because he is snapping back with Bobcat right there with the gun. And he's enraptured in this joy, this newly found joy, and he's grabbing Bobcat and taking the gun away very, very easily. And just grasping him and saying, oh my God, I am going to double your salary. You're rehired tomorrow. And swinging him around and throwing him across the room.
Do you want my office? It's yours.
Right. It's no, I don't actually want that office.
Then he takes this man down to the studio.
Yeah, he deputizes the guy with the gun.
And he takes over, he hijacks the live broadcast. And he just starts making a speech about how he can change and everything is great. And Karen Allen magically shows up because the ghost of Christmas Past happened to be there with his taxi. And Buddy Hackett doesn't appreciate it, but he just kind of steps aside and lets him make a speech, and they just keep rolling. This is where I was getting the network thing. Just keep the cameras rolling. But maybe it's just, this is what people do who are in television. Keep the cameras rolling.
Yeah, and if there's one thing that I actually dislike about this movie, it is the ending, because it just feels like it is completely off the cuff. Which it was.
Thrown together.
It totally was. I get that.
We just need to wrap it up and get out of here.
Yeah, so I did not like the ending of it. Yeah, he has this speech about you can do this and you can do that and Christmas and call your relatives and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I just didn't like how kind of neatly packed up it was, like you said. What I would have preferred, I think, instead of him doing that, or maybe he can finish, but do the thing that movies do. Have little vignettes of the actual future. Have him and Karen Allen opening Christmas presents. Have, the Tiny Tim kid start talking with his brothers and sisters and his mom. Have Bobcat get back with his wife, or have a scene of them in the boardroom where Bobcat is leading a meeting or something like that.
Closure instead of breaking the fourth wall. And he's just everybody sing. They literally all start busting into song.
Yeah.
Why?
I hated that.
Where did that come from?
Yeah.
Alfred Woodard just starts singing and everyone in the room goes, yeah, let's sing. And so they do. And then Bill Murray kind of breaks out of character completely and walks closer to the camera, looks straight at it, and he's addressing the people in the audience in the theater who are watching this movie.
Right.
It's just very strange. And yes, it might be funny, but it also wasn't that funny. It was just a weird turn, and then it's over. And I'm like, okay.
I feel like they just didn't know how to end it.
I don't think they knew what they were doing at all, which is really weird considering Richard Donner, who directed Superman and some other really well-known movies, and also apparently he worked on Gilligan's Island, which is why that joke is in there.
Okay.
This is a man who should know what he is doing. Bill Murray is a man notorious for doing whatever he wants.
Yeah, and I think that's really the dynamic here.
And the thing we haven't really addressed is the fact that it is well known those two didn't do well together.
Yeah.
So Bill Murray wanted the movie to be something else. Richard Donner wanted something different. They completely scrapped the script and just kind of made it up as they went. And it feels like that. It's not always a failure. Like, there are moments of this movie, as I said, they're very funny. Like,
Totally.
the bitch hit me with a toaster is gonna be on my, like, top 10 funniest things that we've heard this year. Like, I think maybe we need to think about a category in the future about best lines, because
Oh, God.
that one's gonna stick with me. But then it's just like, okay, but why? Did we need less Carol Kane? Did we need more? Did we need less plot, more plot?
More of the love story, less of the love
Structure.
story. Did you want to get more into the family stuff?
I didn't buy the love story in the present. I bought it in the past. Like, they have a meet cute and they're flirtatious, and then you see them together.
He has a nickname.
Yeah, he's lumpy because she met him by smacking him in the face with a door.
And then he has a lump on his head.
It's funny, it's cute, but then why in God's name do you want to get back with this guy 15 years later? He has no redeeming
Yeah,
qualities.
who basically fucks off and concentrates on his career, doesn't talk to you ever again until this one moment in a panic. Her number is dialed for him. He picks up the phone and he realizes who it is and he leaves a frantic message. Maybe she's the crazy one.
Maybe. And she works at like a shelter and she's doing actual good work for humanity.
Yep.
And he doesn't appreciate that. And then at the end, she's just kind of like, I'm willing to ditch on Christmas Eve to go and be with this guy I haven't seen in 15 years because that seems like a good idea.
Betsy, they need
Look how he changed.
But Betsy, they need to finish their Kama Sutra book.
Oh,
That's
Lord.
that's really what she's coming back to him for.
Oh, unfinished business.
Yes.
It's business time. All right, Trent, I think I've said most of what I wanted to cover. Do you have anything else we haven't talked about yet?
I just have one question.
Okay.
Have you ever had Tab?
I don't think I have. Or if I have, I was so young I don't remember it.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had it. I've been around it. I know people who have had it, but I don't think I've ever consumed it. My understanding is that it's kind of like a Dr. Pepper.
Do they still make it? Can you get Tab, or
I
is it
think you
long
can.
discontinued?
I think you can. There are some distributors who will make it, but they're very few and far between.
See, you call it some kind of Dr. Pepper. My brain wants to say someone described it to me as flat Coke.
Yeah, it is a cola.
It is a cola. I would say he drinks a lot of it, but he really doesn't. He puts a splash of it in his drinks.
There are 3 appearances of Tab in this movie.
He doesn't actually consume that much of the can, though, because it's just kind of a little taste of Tab on top of his giant glass of vodka.
Right. But it couldn't have been, like, really product placement, because at the end of the movie, while like the camera is kind of panning all around the set, there's a big Coca-Cola logo in the background.
Didn't even see it.
Yeah, it's like on the side of a cooler.
Well, I think Tab was a Coca-Cola product.
Was it? I don't even remember.
I'm pretty sure it is a product of that corporation.
Okay, I do not remember.
But Tab, again, is such a dated reference. There's that, and he's buying VCRs for people.
That's
and
right.
It's like a $5,000 gift in those days.
Yeah.
Those are the only moments in this that feel like, wow, we're in the 80s, huh?
Yeah, and there's a lot of other moments here that are apparently references to other, like, Richard Donner things and references to other Bill Murray things. And if you don't know all that stuff going in, it is going to completely go over your head and you're just going to ignore it.
He made a joke about Richard Pryor that I did not get, and you had to explain to me.
Yeah, such a timely reference of Richard Pryor in this movie. Now, I don't really know a whole lot about the background of this, but the story that I understand is Richard Pryor was at home doing a lot of drugs, and he like doused himself in alcohol and set himself on fire in some kind of weird suicide attempt.
Ah!
Yeah.
And that was apparently a relevant story in 1988.
In the 80s, it was all over the news because Richard Pryor was a very famous comedian.
Well, I knew that part,
Yeah.
but I did not get this joke in the movie.
Yeah, and it is in poor taste. Now, I didn't really realize until just recently that it was more of a suicide attempt and not just an accident. I mean, it's probably one and the same, because if you're doing that many drugs and you're dousing yourself in alcohol...
You think some weird thoughts in that state of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the 1980s, though, they probably thought it was like an accident. Like he just did it by mistake.
Yeah.
And so it's a funny thing to throw into this movie.
Yeah, and a lot of people reference that in things. I know that George Carlin and him were kind of on the same level of fame as far as a stand-up comedian is concerned and being an actor. He joked about it a lot, whereas Carlin actually joked about, I had a heart attack when I was this age. Richard Pryor then, to outdo me, set himself on fire. So I said, fuck that, I'm going to have another heart attack. Yeah.
See, that's a funny joke.
It is a funny joke.
But that's a George Carlin joke, not a Richard Pryor thing.
Exactly. Anyway, yeah, that's really all I had. I mean, I like when movies take a chance on a classic property and put their own spin on it, but also honoring the old thing as well as they can.
Meanwhile, I'm just going to figure that this is a movie that is set at Christmas. It is maybe lacking in actual Christmas spirit, though.
I think you're right.
And that is where we're gonna have to leave it, and that's okay.
Hey, we agree on one thing. Not everything is gonna be sunshine and rainbows on this show.
It is not. Sometimes it's dirty cavies and toaster fights.
And kicking cats, apparently.
And kicking cats. Yeah, that we could have done without that. All right, well, that is gonna do it for Scrooged. We would love to know, do you love this movie? Do you hate this movie? Do you lie somewhere in between where I find myself at this moment? You should email us, neverseenitpod@gmail.com. You can also reach out to us on social media if you'd rather send us a comment or message on there, just like some of these folks did for our most recent movie, White Christmas.
A very different kind of a movie.
Very different.
Also kind of not about Christmas, now that I think about it. Neither of these movies are Christmas, Betsy.
We're nailing this series, Trent. We're nailing it. All right, well, first we heard from Katie, who said, I am a horror fan 100%, but will definitely turn off a horror to watch White Christmas.
That is a strange dynamic.
Some people like a lot of things. They have diverse interest trends.
It's true.
Been my favorite movie since I first saw it when I was about 8. 32 years later, and I still love it. We also got a response on Twitter from @TheBitterWolf. It's been a tradition since I was born for our family to watch it together on Christmas Eve. So I've seen it more than 30 times for sure. Feels heavy on the war propaganda, but besides that, I still love it.
That's what I said.
Yeah, we're in a similar camp. I said in the episode, I've seen that movie probably 50 plus times.
Yeah. And it is a strange thing for me as a 39-year-old man watching that movie for the very first time, not having the nostalgia, not having the first time seeing it as a child. Which reminds me, there is actually a scene that I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't mention in the episode, but there's the scene of Danny Kaye and what's her name on the couch, and she is like really getting handsy on him and like inching forward, and he's kind of getting backed into a corner, literally and figuratively, where her hand is on his inner thigh.
It's very much on his thigh.
Very much so. And, in the 1950s, that's kind of a big deal that I feel like isn't really talked about.
I don't know what the line was. Like, how far could you go with that? Maybe it's because she's being very forward, but it's all a ruse where she's kind of just trying to get him to go along with it.
Yeah.
And it's done for comedic effect.
Right. She's not trying to, grab his dick or anything. So I understand that it is a more innocent thing, but seeing that on screen, again, as an adult, that's what I see. As a child, you don't think about that.
Meanwhile, as a kid, I'm just like, haha, she's really pushy.
Right.
All right, well, we got one more comment on Twitter. This is a movie that we got a lot of responses for because this is what many people, apart from you, have seen. This one comes in from Ryan @TheRealRyanRitter. He says, not to be a Grinch, but I've never loved White Christmas. comes in hot with a great opening 10 minutes or so, then just kind of sits there. Always preferred Holiday Inn over it, even though that movie has its, issues.
Oh, yeah.
As well.
Oh, yeah.
I said it at the end of the episode. I am not completely putting on my blinders and refusing to accept criticism about this movie. I can find plenty of things to criticize in White Christmas.
And it is a different thing when we're doing it for a podcast and we're really trying to analyze it. I think maybe it's a little bit harder for you to do that when you have seen a movie so many times, like White Christmas.
Correct. No, I'm not going to pick it apart because I'm just there for the fun of it. Like I said in the episode, I'm looking at what's going on in the background because I know what's going on in the foreground.
Yeah, you know all the main meat of the actual movie. You're watching it looking for any extra details that you maybe have missed the first 15 times or 50 times
Or I'm going to do the Lord of the Rings thing where he kicks the helmet and I'm just waiting to tell you about how he kicked the helmet for real.
Uh-huh.
That's how I am with White Christmas. Anyhow, to bring it back to our messages, we do have one more. We have an email from Stephanie, our super fan, about White Christmas. She begins, I absolutely love this movie. The music, the sets, the cast. It is maybe the reason I love musicals and the reason I have always wanted to own an inn. I just think it is so freaking fun. I grew up watching White Christmas and Holiday Inn. Holiday Inn has a lot of racist elements. Not great. I did enjoy the music and dancing, but the blackface is unforgivable and I really cannot watch it anymore. Yeah, that's 2 comments in a row where, they've seen Holiday Inn. They know what's going on there.
Yeah, and of course, I didn't know anything about that until we talked about it in that episode, so...
And we won't be watching Holiday Inn. I'm going to tell you that right now.
No.
She continues, I've always had a weird crush on Danny Kaye. He is so charming. Honey, it's not weird.
Yeah, you asked me.
I love Danny Kaye.
You asked me, hey, did you think that Bing Crosby would fit as a hot crooner? And I said, yeah, he looks good. He's really tanned and he's fit and everything else. And Danny Kaye is charming. Sure.
Women love to laugh and he is very funny.
And he can kind of dance.
And he can sing. He is the complete package. And yeah, have a crush on Danny Kaye.
There you go.
I encourage you to do so. Vera Ellen can sing. It is a little sad that they dubbed her. Bing Crosby and Rosemary Clooney are so cute together. Never thought about the age difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was reading because, again, without making it a 4-hour podcast, there's all these facts I know. Rosemary Clooney basically wanted to do that movie so she could act opposite Bing Crosby. It was an excuse for them to work together. They didn't worry about the age difference. But it's also something that Hollywood has done since those days. They still do it. Now they're getting a little better, but there is usually a pretty big discrepancy.
Well, they know people are looking for things like that.
Now people care a lot more.
Yeah.
She goes on, the military stuff doesn't bother me. Lots of those men run off stage to their families, so I assume they brought them with them.
Yeah, and I didn't think about that. In the episode I said, oh yeah, all these military guys who come for the general
leave their
families on Christmas Day to go see this general guy. No, they actually did bring their families, and it's fine. Okay.
All right, here's the part where I kind of blew her mind because we watched this in 4K and it was a lot better detail. She says, OMG, I thought the choreography number was dark gray. No idea it was purple. Like I said, things you notice.
Yep.
I love a malt. So good. My dad would make them growing up. It must be a dad thing.
It's very much a dad thing.
It's a boomer dad thing is what it is.
Yeah.
She concludes, I love White Christmas and I love this series. This week, I watched Anna and the Apocalypse, which is a wonderful Christmas musical zombie movie. Also, we watched Krampus. Love you guys, from Superfan Stephanie.
Nothing but the hits in her household.
Well, and she always finds a way to bring it back around to the scary horror type movies, like a zombie apocalypse and Krampus.
But it's also a musical.
You bring all the spirit together. That was one of the movies I suggested for this, but I think it's one that isn't as well known. So, spoiler alert, we're not doing Anna and the Apocalypse. Maybe someday. If we get a lot of people listening to this who know that movie and love that movie, tell us about it. Email it to us, neverseenapod@gmail.com, and tell us that you want us to cover that movie. We'll consider it. But send us a message go to wherever you are listening to this podcast, rate us 5 stars, rate us the highest amount of stars they will let you rate us, and write us a review. Tell people about us because it helps us find more listeners. As a reminder, we are only doing episodes on the Sundays in December, so don't worry about Wednesday this week. Just skip right on to the next Sunday where we will be doing our third of 4 Christmas movies. This one we're doing a new movie, Trent.
Yeah, brand new movie that's getting a lot of, let's just call it Oscar buzz.
Positive buzz with an actor we appreciate. We are doing The Holdovers.
Yeah.
So we're going to see what that is all about next Sunday. Come back, experience that movie with us.
Yeah, it is currently, if you're listening to this when it comes out, it is now available for rental. It is in the theaters. Go and watch it and come back with us and listen to our next episode. The Holdovers is coming next.
But until then, this has been Never Seen It. My name is Betsy.
My name is Trent.
And we'll see you on Sunday.
Bah humbug.